RedNationBlogga here again with another post. It's a lot of things that's happened. Nets went home. Clippers sent Utah home. And now today, we've had the Clippers and the Suns game one, West Conference Finals, and the Atlanta Hawks sent the Philadelphia 76ers home. And this is like so unexpected, because I was like, Atlanta's a good team. They got pieces here, they got pieces there, they got the superstar, but I didn't think that they were experienced enough to go through a Philadelphia team that was so dominant, that had the MVP on their team before he got hurt, and he's balling out, and a new version of Tobias Harris, who always played his best basketball when Doc Rivers was his coach, and then they had Ben Simmons, and they had Seth Curry, and they just were clicking on all cylinders. Danny Green, and but he got hurt, and I think that kind of shifted the series a little bit, but you're still supposed to win without Danny Green if you're the number one seed. So without further ado, let's hop into it. Trey Young, man, I think that Trey Young is such a unique basketball player because today he did not have his best stuff. I think he was 5 for 22, but he still dished out double-digit assists. He was control of the game. He had some troubles late in the game, like the final few possessions with Ben Simmons kind of reaching around him and ripping the ball free. One led to a turnover, which went to the other end. But Philly, of course, didn't really capitalize. The game felt kind of like decided even at that point. And then he had like another one where he almost lost the ball, but I think Kevin Huerter bailed him out. But, Trey Young is just such a unique talent, and I'm so glad that Nate McMillan took the reins from Lloyd Pierce, because it was clear that the Atlanta Hawks was not responding to Lloyd Pierce and his coaching style, his coaching scheme, his voice, whatever you want to say. They were not responding. And Nate McMillan, after being wrongfully fired in Indiana, takes that team, which I thought going into the season would be a 4th, 5th seed, took that team from the bottom of the Eastern Conference, like 10th, 11th, 12th, where they should not have been with that much talent on their roster. I don't care. And he took them boys to the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference, and the 5th seed for the second year in a row has went to the Eastern Conference Finals. Second year in a row. But they say, hey, the bubble, that was a fluke. The 5th seed for the second year in a row going to the Eastern Conference. And we're going to see how they play Milwaukee. We're going to see, because I think Atlanta got something for Milwaukee. Joel Embiid, I don't want to be tough on Joel Embiid. He was out there playing on a torn meniscus, I've never torn any ligament in my body. I don't know what that's like. But, Joel Embiid, he warrior effort, warrior spirit. He went out there, he performed. Ben Simmons, he had 4 points. I think that people need to kind of change how we view Ben Simmons. Like, he's a Lamar Odom. He's a Rajon Rondo. He just happens to be 6'10". He just happened to be the number 1 overall pick. But the comparisons when he was coming out of the college, out of LSU, was LeBron James comparisons. And anytime you hear somebody get a LeBron James comparison, all eyes are going to be on them. All the hype is going to be on them. And that's just not the situation with Ben Simmons. It's completely different. He's a completely different type of player. He needs to be in a system kind of like what Giannis is in Milwaukee. He needs a lot of shooters around him. He needs a lot of space. And I think that'll be the best version. But I don't think that we can see the Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid mix anymore. I think this is the last season that we're going to see it. And Doc Rivers, man, this is him at this point. This is what Doc Rivers does. And I'm so tired of people giving him a pass because he won a championship in 2008. This is what Doc Rivers does, man. He has a team that plays great in the regular season. They look complete. They have an MVP candidate. Then in the playoffs, they crumble. He's done this in 3 or 4 different presidential candidacies now, presidential campaigns, presidential reigns, whatever you want to say. He's done this in like 3 or 4 different ones. George Bush, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, and now Joe Biden. This is the 4th president he's done this. The 4th one where he's done this after they have been the prohibitive favorite to come out of the conference. Enough's enough. But I'm pretty sure Philly not going to get rid of him after 1 year. They probably going to get rid of Ben Simmons. Moving on to the first game of the evening, even though I started off with the Atlanta Hawks. The Clippers and the Phoenix Suns. So this game was back and forth. There was high energy. You could tell Phoenix really benefited from the rest. You could tell the Clippers were still kind of reeling from that Game 6, performance. They were still riding high, and they rode that momentum into that game. Paul George has unlocked himself. Maybe losing Kawhi Leonard and becoming the #1 option, maybe that's helped him. Maybe Tyronn Lue is just pushing the right buttons. I think it's a little bit of both. But Paul George is playing great basketball. But I will say in the fourth quarter, he went 0 for 5 or 0 for 6. Nobody talked about it. I'm not going to say anything. That's all I'm saying. He went 0 for 5 or 0 for 6. I can't remember. I looked it up. I seen it. I saw the misses. There was no color shapes in. It was all empty circles. I was like, damn, I didn't know he didn't make a field goal. So he kind of cooled off. If he performed better, I do believe that the Clippers have a chance of stealing Game 1 on the road. But regardless of this series, I think that even with Chris Paul being in health and protocols, I think that that's kind of an advantage. I think that that's kind of a boost for Phoenix, because right now Chris Paul is getting more rest. They swept the Nuggets a week ago, right? So they've been resting since then. Now Chris Paul's about to get probably an extra game or 2 more of rest. Mentally, physically, he's going to be chomping at the bit to get back. So when he comes back, if that's Game 3, if that's Game 4, that's not the same Phoenix team. You're going to see a completely different version, because all of that energy that the Clippers are going to play with at home, Chris Paul can tone them down a little bit, get guys into their spots, hit his shots. And with him feeling healthier, it's just going to be a more elite version of what we're seeing right now. But you see that when Chris Paul is not there, Cameron Payne stepped up, 9 assists, 11 points. Devin Booker had a 40-point triple-double. DeAndre Ayton had like 20 points and 9 rebounds. Like, you see that this team is more than just Chris Paul, although Chris Paul is an elite leader, and he's been one of the reasons why they've had the success that they've had this season. But other than that, man, not a lot of NBA action no more. The season's winding down to an end. We get into the Elite Four. We in the Elite Four now, so we're going to see what teams come out on top. I got Phoenix coming out the West. And my Eastern Conference pick, I'm going to just ride with Atlanta, man. They've been upsetting everybody, so I'm going to just ride with Atlanta. All right, man, RedNationBlogga signing off.